Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. So today we're going deep into the world of Apache healing and medicine.
Yeah, it's a fascinating system. It's way more than just, like herbal teas and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
There are some seriously deep connections to nature here. We're talking about using excerpts from the book Apache Healing and Medicine and some really cool content from a website called Black Hawk Visions.
Both are fantastic sources.
I know. Okay, so the Apache people, their connection to nature, it's like not just some poetic thing, right?
No, not at all.
It's at the core of their whole approach to healing. Like they see nature as this living pharmacy stocked with all these potent remedies.
And that's not some new age fad for them either. They've been tapping into the power of plants for centuries, passing this knowledge down through generations. It's amazing.
It really is. It speaks to their deep observation of like how nature really works.
Exactly.
So where do we even begin with a tradition this rich?
Well, to really understand Apache healing, I think we have to understand their history first.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
These people migrated from northern Canada all the way to the southwest U.S., and it took centuries.
Wow. That's a journey.
It is. Imagine all the different landscapes they encountered, the challenges they overcame,
Right.
and how that would shape their culture, their beliefs, everything, especially their relationship with nature.
Yeah, you start to see how resilient they are and how that resilience is like woven into their approach to healing.
Absolutely. Every plant they use, every
Yeah.
ceremony, it's all informed by this deep history and respect for how everything's connected.
Okay, I'm ready to get into some specifics.
Let's do it.
I was reading about the Apache plume plant.
Oh, yeah,
They use it for its anti-inflammatory properties, which is pretty neat.
it is.
But what really blew me away was this knowledge wasn't like discovered in some lab. It was passed down, through generations.
That's where it gets really interesting. It goes beyond, just practical knowledge of which plant does what.
Yeah.
It becomes deeply spiritual for them.
Okay, so how so?
Well, they see the natural world as this source of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
And healing, for them, it's about aligning yourself with that wisdom.
So it's not just about treating the physical symptoms, it's about restoring balance, like within the individual, the community, and nature itself.
Exactly. They understand that everything's connected. You can't just separate physical health from, say, emotional well-being or an individual's health from the health of their community and the environment. It's all part of this like delicate web.
It's like that saying, treat the earth well. It wasn't given to you by your parents. It was loaned to you by your children.
Yes, exactly like that. And the Apache embodies that idea in their healing practices. They truly believe that the earth provides everything we need to heal, but we have a responsibility to, use those resources wisely and sustainably.
Which reminds me of something else I read about the Apache healers, the medicine men and women. They're not just herbalists, are they? They're also spiritual leaders.
Absolutely. They are the keepers of this ancient knowledge, and their role is way bigger than just treating, physical stuff.
So what else do they do?
Well, they guide the community, they help people connect with the spirit world, and they use all sorts of rituals and ceremonies to bring about healing on a deeper level.
Like the enemy way ceremony.
Yes,
Can
exactly.
you tell me a bit more about that?
Imagine this, a ceremony specifically designed to help veterans process the trauma of war.
Wow.
Yeah. The enemy way, though it's not about, fighting, it's about coming back into the community, finding peace and belonging after experiencing those horrors.
That's powerful.
It really is. It shows how deeply they understand the mental and social aspects of healing.
It shows that personal well-being is tied to the community's health, right? Like they see healing as this collective process.
Precisely. They recognize that disruptions in one area, like the trauma experienced by a veteran, can spread outward,
Yeah.
affecting the whole community.
Right?
So healing for them involves restoring harmony, not just within the individual, but within that social fabric as well.
So it's not just about treating the symptoms, it's about addressing those root causes of imbalance, whether they're physical, emotional, or spiritual.
Right. And that's where their use of nature as a pharmacy comes in.
Okay, so how does that work?
They don't just treat the symptoms, they want to restore balance. They know that physical problems often come from deeper issues, emotional or spiritual.
So if, say, someone went to an Apache healer complaining of chronic pain, the healer might not just focus on the physical symptoms, but also try to understand what might be causing that pain on an emotional or spiritual level.
Exactly. They might ask, what's going on in your life? Are you grieving? Are you holding on to anger? Have you experienced trauma that hasn't been addressed?
Wow.
Because they understand that these unresolved issues can manifest as physical pain.
That's such a different approach than just like popping a pill to mask the pain?
It is, and it's something that we in the modern world are starting to rediscover, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
We're realizing that true healing involves addressing the whole person, not just the physical body.
Absolutely. So, how does this approach play out in their use of plants for healing?
Well, they have this vast knowledge of local plants and what they can do medicinally,
Mm-hmm.
like, for instance, echinacea.
Yeah, it's everywhere these days.
Right. But the Apache, they were way ahead of the curve. They've used echinacea for centuries to boost immunity.
Really?
Yeah. It shows a deep understanding of the immune system, long before modern science, caught up.
That's amazing. What are some other examples?
Oh, let's see. Well, they use willow bark for pain.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? It has a natural substance similar to aspirin.
No way.
Yeah. They also use cedar for purification and respiratory problems,
Mm-hmm.
mullein for coughs, sage for digestion and cleansing rituals. The list goes on.
Wow, it's like they've cracked the code of nature's medicine cabinet.
Right. And they don't just like randomly harvest these plants. Their approach is all about respecting the ecosystem. They take what's needed, but make sure the plants can regenerate. They often perform ceremonies to give thanks to the earth, too.
That's beautiful.
It is.
It's a reminder that we're not separate from nature, right? We're part of it. And our well-being depends on its health.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And that brings us to another fascinating part of Apache healing, their understanding of the seasons.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
They know that the strength of medicinal plants changes with the time of year, and they adapt their practices accordingly.
They do. It's remarkable.
So each season offers a different set of healing gifts, and they work with those natural cycles. That's incredible. Tell me more.
Well, spring is when everything wakes up, right?
Right.
The plants are full of life. So that's when the Apache gather wild herbs and roots.
Makes sense.
They believe those plants are most potent then. And then summer comes along with all this abundance, fruits, and flowers.
I can just picture the community coming together for these harvests, celebrating the bounty of the earth.
Oh, absolutely. It's a time of joy and abundance. But then, as autumn rolls around, the focus shifts to getting ready for winter. Drawing herbs, preserving food, gathering what they'll need for the colder months.
Smart. So what about winter? What kind of healing happens then?
Winter is for rest and introspection. It's a time to rely on those stores they've put away, gather around the fire, tell stories, and reconnect with the spirit world.
Oh, that sounds so cozy.
It is. They see winter as a time for going inward, for
Hmm.
healing on a deeper level. What's really incredible is how this deep understanding of nature's cycles informs their entire approach to healing. It's all about working with nature, not against it.
I love that.
Good.
It makes you want to slow down and pay attention to those rhythms in your own life.
It does, doesn't it? And speaking of tuning in, let's talk about their healing rituals and ceremonies.
Okay, yes, I've been wanting to get to this.
These are more than just tradition. They're powerful expressions of belief and play a huge role in their healing practices.
I'm really curious about this. What are some of the most important ceremonies?
Well, one that a lot of people have heard of is the sweat lodge ceremony.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's all about physical and spiritual purification. They use heat, steam, prayers, songs.
So, what's it actually like to be inside one?
It's intense, both physically and emotionally. The heat and steam help cleanse the body, and the prayers and songs, they create a powerful spiritual connection. It's a chance to let go of old stuff, confront fears, and emerge renewed. It's a journey inward, like a symbolic death and rebirth. And it's not just about individual healing either. It's a communal experience. Everyone supports each other through this intense process.
It sounds really profound. Are there other ceremonies that use this kind of collective energy for healing?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's the healing song. It's led by a medicine person and uses vocal vibrations to restore balance. They believe that sound and vibration can have a profound impact on the body and spirit.
That makes a lot of sense to me. I've always been kind of fascinated by the power of sound.
Right.
Certain tones and frequencies can really shift your energy.
Absolutely.
It's like they're tapping into some ancient primal understanding of how sound can heal.
Exactly. The Apache get that. They use the healing song for all kinds of ailments, physical, emotional, you name it.
Hmm.
It's all about aligning the vibrations of the body with the vibrations of the universe, restoring harmony from the inside out.
It makes you realize how much we miss in the modern world. Like we've lost touch with these ancient ways of knowing.
We have. But the beautiful thing is, these practices are still here, just waiting to be rediscovered.
Yeah, totally.
People are longing for more than just quick fixes. They want deeper connections, that sense of wholeness that comes from being in tune with nature and spirit.
Speaking of ancient wisdom, the book talks a lot about the role of storytelling in Apache healing. They have this rich oral tradition, passing down knowledge and values through the generations.
Oh yeah, storytelling is essential to their culture.
Right.
It's how they keep their history, their beliefs, their understanding of nature alive.
These stories aren't just entertainment, though. They're like living lessons, carrying the wisdom of their ancestors.
Exactly. And they aren't static either. They evolve and adapt to each generation, keeping that knowledge relevant.
So give me an example.
Sure. One that really stuck with me is the story of White Painted Woman. It's about resilience and the cyclical nature of life and healing. It reminds us that challenges will always come up, but we have the strength to overcome them and become stronger because of them.
So those stories become like a guide for getting through the ups and downs of life, right?
Yeah.
Offering wisdom and inspiration that's been passed down for generations.
That's it. And they also give a sense of continuity, connecting each generation to the wisdom and experiences of those who came before. It's like a living history book, told through words and images.
And the keepers of that knowledge, the ones who interpret those stories, those are the medicine men and women. They hold such a revered position in the Apache community.
Oh, absolutely. They're chosen for their wisdom, their connection to the spirit world, and their ability to guide others on their healing journeys. Their training is intense, too, often involves apprenticeships that last for years.
It's not just about like memorizing plant names and how to use them. It's about cultivating this deep understanding of how everything is connected, the spiritual side of healing.
Exactly. They're more than healers of the body. They're spiritual guides, counselors, keepers of sacred knowledge. They bridge that gap between the physical and spiritual worlds, helping people find balance and wholeness.
And this brings us back to how the Apache understanding of healing goes beyond just the individual, right? It's about the well-being of the whole community.
You got it. Their rituals and ceremonies are often communal experiences. The family, the whole community, they all come together to support whoever needs healing. There's this understanding that everyone's well-being is tied together.
The book goes into some detail about the steps involved in a typical healing ceremony. Can you walk me through what that might look like?
Sure. It usually starts with preparing a sacred space. They cleanse it with smoke from, like, sacred herbs, sage or cedar. Then the community gathers, bringing their energy and prayers to support the person seeking healing.
So they're creating like a container, right? A safe and supportive space for healing to happen.
Exactly. And then the medicine person might lead prayers, sing sacred songs, and perform symbolic acts, all designed to invoke spiritual guidance and restore balance. They might use rattles, drums, feathers, or other sacred objects to kind of amplify the healing energy.
It's so visual.
It is.
And the family, the community, they're so important too. They offer their love and support throughout the process.
Oh yeah, that collective energy is vital. They believe that the power of prayer, intention, and community can really boost the healing power of the ceremony.
And I love how they use symbolism and storytelling to convey deeper meanings. The book talked about symbols like feathers, stones, the medicine wheel. Can you say a bit more about those?
Sure. Each symbol has its own special meanings and energy. Feathers, for example, often represent connection to the spirit world. Stones might symbolize grounding and stability. And the medicine wheel is super powerful. It represents the interconnectedness of everything, the four directions, the four elements, the cycles of life. Wow. Yeah, that's a big one.
And those stories they weave into the ceremonies, those must be incredibly powerful.
They are. They might tell traditional tales that give guidance, offer hope, or teach about healing and resilience.
I bet. Any specific examples come to mind?
Let's see. Oh, there's one about a young Apache man named Clayton. He learns about the power of healing through a sacred ceremony, realizing how important it is to share his pain and let the community support him.
That's a beautiful story. It's a reminder that we're not meant to go through life alone. We need each other, especially when we're hurting.
That's something the Apache really understand. Their healing is all about connection to nature, to spirit, to community. They know that true healing happens within those relationships.
It makes you wonder if in our modern world, with all the emphasis on like independence and being self-sufficient, we've kind of lost sight of that interconnectedness. Like, have we forgotten the power of community to support us and help us heal?
It's a good question, and one worth thinking about for sure. But the great thing is, we can rediscover these things.
Yeah, that's true.
We can learn from cultures like the Apache and figure out how to weave these principles back into our own lives.
So, where do we start? How can we bring more of this Apache wisdom into our modern world?
Well, I think education is a good first step. Learn about their history, their beliefs, their practices. The book we've been talking about is a great place to begin, and so is the Black Hawk Visions website. It's full of amazing information and stories about Apache healing.
Right. And then there's like the power of personal experience too. Get out into nature, maybe find a local herbalist or someone who can teach you about the plants in your area.
Yes. And don't forget about the power of community. Find people who are also interested in exploring these ideas. Start a healing circle, share stories, support each other.
The book even mentions some practical tips, like making a home apothecary, brewing herbal teas, even trying to make your own salves and tinctures.
It's about reclaiming our connection to the earth, to the wisdom of our ancestors. It's about recognizing that healing isn't just about fixing the physical body, but nurturing the whole person, body, mind, and spirit.
And remembering that we're not alone in this, right? We have the support of each other, the guidance of our ancestors, and the healing power of nature.
Couldn't have said it better.
So true. That brings us to the other piece of our source material, the Black Hawk Visions website. They have a great section on storytelling. They even offer a free ebook called Spirit of the Wild, Reconnecting with Nature's Wisdom. What stood out to you from the website?
You know, what really struck me was how they emphasized the importance of not just like learning about plants, but really listening to what nature has to teach us. There's this lovely story about Takeda, who's learning Apache traditions from his grandmother, Gandhi.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
She talks about their culture being like a woven basket holding everything together,
Right?
and how health is about this balance, honoring your body with good food, but also connecting with your spirit through things like prayer and meditations.
Exactly. It's that holistic perspective again, reminding us that our physical well-being is completely tied to our emotional and spiritual state.
And then there's that scene where she takes Takeda out to gather herbs. She's teaching him about their uses, but she also really emphasizes respect for the earth.
Oh, I love that part.
It's such a powerful reminder that the earth provides everything we need, but we should only take what we need and always be grateful for those gifts.
Such an important lesson,
Yeah.
especially now with all the issues around sustainability and, environmental damage. The Apache really get what it means to live in harmony with nature. It's something we can all learn from.
It really drives home that whole idea of interconnectedness we keep coming back to.
Yeah,
How our well-being is so tied to the health of the planet.
absolutely. And Black Hawk Visions also talks about how the Apache people align their healing practices with the natural cycles of the year,
Mm.
like understanding that each season has its own, gifts and challenges.
Oh, right. Like we were talking about earlier, spring is for renewal. So that's when they gather those powerful herbs and roots. Then summer brings all that abundance, fruits and flowers, each with their unique healing properties.
And then, as the days get shorter, the weather gets colder, autumn becomes a time for preparation.
Right.
They dry herbs for the winter, preserve food, gather all the things they need to get through those colder months.
It's like they're moving with the rhythm of nature instead of trying to like fight it.
Exactly. And then winter becomes this time for rest, for looking inward. You rely on the stores you've gathered, turn inward for healing. It's a beautiful cycle. It reminds us that we're part of that ebb and flow of nature too.
I'm also really intrigued by what the website says about sacred spaces.
Oh, yeah.
These places have deep meaning for the Apache people, culturally and spiritually. They often use those spaces for healing ceremonies and rituals.
It's about recognizing that certain places hold a special kind of energy, a connection to the spirit world. The Apache have a deep reverence for the land and understand that those sacred spaces are vital for their well-being.
It makes me think about the places in nature that feel special to me, the places where I feel a sense of peace, of connection. Maybe we all have our own sacred spaces, even if we don't always think of them that way.
Maybe so. And Black Hawk Visions really emphasizes the importance of stories, of oral tradition, in keeping these beliefs and practices alive. They have this really powerful story about Eli, a young man who reconnects with his Apache heritage through, the healing power of nature.
Oh, yes, I remember that one. He learns to listen to the wind, watch the animals, really see the abundance the earth provides.
Exactly. It's a beautiful story about remembering our connection to nature.
It is.
And there's another story about Ayana, a young medicine woman who learns that it's important to connect not just with plants, but with the spirit of the people, their stories, their pain, their joy.
It's a good reminder that healing isn't just about physical remedies. It's about understanding and addressing the emotional and spiritual needs of the individual and the whole community.
It really is. It's about weaving it all together, the wisdom of the plants, the power of the spirit, the support of the community, and the stories that connect us all.
After going through all this material, the book, the website, it's clear that Apache healing isn't just something of the past.
Well,
It's a living tradition that's still relevant and powerful today.
absolutely. And there's so much we can learn from it. The way they view nature as this source of healing, their emphasis on community and connection, their deep respect for the earth, these are all things that really speak to us in the modern world, I think.
I agree. So after this deep dive into Apache healing and medicine, I'm curious, how do you connect with nature?
Mm.
Could exploring some of these principles help you feel better, be healthier?
That's a great question for everyone to think about. Maybe take some time to reflect on your own relationship with nature. Are there ways you can deepen that connection? Could you try incorporating some of these ancient practices, even in small ways, to bring more balance and healing into your life?
I love that.
It's worth a shot.
And if you're interested in learning more, definitely check out the resources we've mentioned today. There's a world of knowledge out there just waiting to be explored.
Until next time, keep exploring. And remember, the path to healing is a lifelong journey.